Good afternoon, guys. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me again. Today we're over at Maldon to photograph this wreck. It's a beautiful wreck, well photographed, easy to find. I've been over a few times very recently. In fact, I came over last weekend, but this happened. So I'm back again this weekend to try again, although sadly, it being Sunday afternoon, it's pouring down with rain and not very nice at all. But I'm determined to get something, as I spent most of last Sunday on the A12 deciding how to get the van back. My insurance company said, sorry, we can't help, we're closed. Phoned back on Monday, and Green Flag said, well, it's not a breakdown, so we can't help you either. So I ended up driving back down the A12 and then getting it repaired immediately. But anyway, back to the wreck. So Sunday afternoon, I've photographed this wreck many times before, different styles with models as well. I'll post a few pictures at the end of the video. But yeah, today it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because it's not very nice at all. We're about an hour and a half away from sunset, although I can't imagine there's going to be much sunset, to be honest. But I haven't posted for a while because unfortunately I've had a very poorly family member, but thankfully my mother dearest is okay now. She's pulled through and yeah, all good. So yeah, back to doing videos and posting as regular as I can. And my thoughts for today are to do a very wide angle shot of this wreck, using the foreground elements to lead into the wreck, allowing us to read the picture. So you have a foreground lead in, so your eyes wander through the picture up to the really interesting wreck. And I have, considering the weather, bought with me a 600 watt battery powered studio flash. So I'm thinking I may do a 10 stop exposure and then use the 600 watt studio flash to illuminate the wreck to give it what appears to be some form of sunlight. I don't know how that'll work. I just thought, well, I'm not going to get much sun today, so I may as well give it a go. But yeah, I don't know the history of this boat. It would be interesting to find out. So if anybody knows, then please post in the comments. It would be very interesting. I have had a Google, but really couldn't really find anything. So yeah, I'll get my camera out, set up, find a composition. It's going to be very low, and then with the wreck dominating centre, just off centre, and hopefully some cloud movement. There is cloud structure, so hopefully if this rain holds off, it will work. And I'm going to be using my Nikon Z7 II. It'll be 14 to 35 millimeter S lens and some Firecrest filters, probably the 10 stop filter, although I do have a 16 stop filter with me as well, but that will be a fight against raindrops, I think. So yeah, let's give it a go and see how it looks. Worst case scenario is I don't get much, go back to the van, have a cup of tea and drive home, so not too bad. I have actually been here twice today, but this afternoon it was absolutely throwing it down, so I went for a little drive around to see what I could find, and then back here for yeah, sunset. But anyway, yeah, I'll set up and show you what I'm looking at. So I've kind of got set up for one composition. So it's here breaking the piece of wood and kneeling in the mud, but yeah, I'm set up here. With the, as you can see, my phone recording the screen, so I can give you an idea of what I'm doing and point out some of the compositional cues, and then I'll put a 10 stop on and see how it goes, really. So at the moment, pointing out here that we've got some leading lines coming through here and then leading up to the wreck, so that works quite well. But as I say, what will happen is I'll put a 10 stop on and do a few exposures, but also do some 400 ISO or even 600 or 800 ISO exposures to freeze the foreground, as there's no water coming in, so that doesn't matter. So I'll freeze the foreground and then blend the long exposure portion of the wreck and the sky and see how it looks, really. As I say, I'm determined to get something, even if it's not a great shot after the few weeks I've had. So yeah, bear with me, and hopefully at the end of the video there'll be something reasonable to post, and plenty more videos coming up. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video, and if you like it, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing, help the channel grow, and yeah, inspire me to get out and do lots more stuff for you guys. So yeah, give us a thumbs up. Talk to you soon. So this is the composition I've got, which got a lead-in portion here, which is part of the old boat wreck that leads in, and then we've got this lead-in here, which is part of a larger ship, I think, part of a larger section of the boat, or one of the wrecks, as there's several around here, and then yeah, obviously you've got the wreck here, and then with the 10 stop fill to the sky here, we'll hopefully leave some striations as it's moving away, and it is moving away from the wreck, so I think it will leave some striations in the sky, and then I'll use the 600 watt flash gun that I've talked about to illuminate the wreck a little bit, so we'll give that a go. So I'm focused on the front of the wreck, with this one doing a 60-second exposure at f11 ISO 64, and then we'll see what it looks like, and then we can combine them. But I don't think there's going to be much in the way of colour this evening from the sunset, so we shall see what it looks like, really. So I'm going to try another one of these, but just by tapping on the screen, because I've got a 2-second delay there. So focused on the wreck, and then it's shooting, and we'll see what it looks like after the exposure. It's very quiet down here this afternoon. Not surprised given the weather, but we'll see. I've got a few new bits coming very soon, which I'm very much looking forward to playing around with. So I'll do a video once those arrive, perhaps an unboxing, and then a couple of trips out just to see how it fares and how I get on with it. So I'm really looking forward to that. So keep you posted as soon as I get that. I'll, as I say, do the unboxing and then go from there. So really looking forward to that, really excited. So this exposure, given the light, is a couple of minutes. I'm just sitting here in the mud, waiting for a countdown, really. And then I'm going to search for another composition which has some strong foreground elements in it as a lead-in line. This lead-in does work, but there's quite a lot of growth at this time of year, so that's not so great. But as I say, a combination of a couple of shots to give me a still foreground and then a long exposure for the sky leaving striations. And then I'll change composition. We'll see what it looks like. Okay, I've just started a new exposure and I'm literally set up with a Godox AD 600 watt studio lamp, set up at 100% power, and I'm going to try and illuminate it more from one side as though we've got sort of a direction of sun coming. So let's see if it makes any difference over there. That's 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do a 5th one. Put it in the bag before it gets too wet. Okay, so I did 5 bursts with the Godox flash on the front of the Wreck. So hopefully in combination with the long exposure, the normal exposure, or for want of a better phrase, standard exposure of the foreground, and then the flashes will give it an interesting appearance of light on the foreground. If not, I shall do some more flashing and hopefully it'll work, if you'll excuse the expression. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, we've definitely got some striations of the clouds coming through, and we've got some illumination on the front there, but I think we probably need to do 10 flashes on that. As I say, I'm kind of doing this to play around and get something from a couple of visits here, especially one that cost a few £100 in damage to the van. So, but this may be a way of trying to pull something from bad weather. So I'm just going to try that again. I'm going to bump the ISO up on here though. So at the moment I'm at 100 ISO. So I'm going to bump the ISO up to 200. And then I'm going to focus on the Wreck, start the exposure, and then I'm going to grab the flash gun and do several shots wandering around. So I'll set this GoPro up on a tripod. I'm going to come over here and do 10. 1. And another one for luck. There we go. Let's see how that looks when the exposure is finished. So I've changed composition and the weather is finally easing off. The clouds are quite interesting, there's striations going on, so I quite like that. So I think we'll play about with this composition and then make our merry way home. So I'll point this composition out for you. So we've got the lead in here coming through here, and then we've got a portion over here which is staying just in frame, which is this part of the rib of the boat, and then we've got the ribs leading out over here. So the ribs do actually lead out over here, which is a little bit uncomfortable, but they are pointing over the top leading to the Wreck. So I'm using that as a guide into the Wreck, and I'm placing the Wreck just off centre to the left, and not including anything over on the left, far left of this area here. So I don't want to go anywhere past sort of here really, and I think that will work. Again, I will illuminate the Wreck with the flash gun, probably do maybe 20 flashes this time, just to see if it works. And we've definitely got some cloud movement, so I think the combination should look okay. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to get on with that and yeah, show you the end result. So I'm going to use probably a 2-minute exposure in combination with some higher ISO 60th of a second exposures. So the 60th of a second will freeze the foreground, and then the 2-minute will give the striations in the sky, and that will give me time to fire the flash gun as well. And then also I will focus on the foreground for the short 60th of a second shots, and then focus on the wreck for the long exposures, and then combine them all at the end. Hopefully it will look quite good. So yeah, I'll show you in a bit. Thanks again for watching. So I've changed composition a bit. I just noticed on the last one that the rib was a little bit uncomfortable and was just touching the underneath of the bow. There wasn't any separation, so I've raised the camera a little bit and also moved it slightly left to give me some separation, and also the cross member portion that's down here. I don't know whether you can see that down there. That was a little bit uncomfortable, so now I've put that on the right hand bottom corner with the two yeah, the other two bits of wood, I don't know what they're called, the other two bits of wood leading from either side of the corner up to the cross member, which is then going across the corner and then leading up to the ribs, which are now not interfering with the bow of the boat. So again, I'll do some 800 ISO shots, and then, excuse my phone, and then I'll do some long exposures and use the flash gun to highlight the wreck and see what we come up with. The idea of this is also in black and white, so it's not for a colour photo, but the rain's coming, so let's get on. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, well, I think that's it. Yeah, and this is the last exposure. It's about 3 minutes. Just finished actually, so let's have a look on the back of the screen and see what we can see. So we've got a bit of striation, a bit of highlights on the wreck. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as I say, give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and there'll be plenty more coming your way. And, see you on the next one. Thanks so much.